look at this, I click it and split seconds later. Good morning, gentlemen, ladies, whoever's there. This is going to be an interesting day at this end, that's for sure. I don't know about anything else out there. Well, hello. Yeah. Got some thank yous to say. I guess I better wait till a few more people are here. I didn't check my Wi-Fi. Dropped frames. Just a minute. I forgot to check. Hi, Wi-Fi okay. Drop frames. Look good. Mic in. Plugged in. All clear. Looks like we are up and running. I got some notes from Jed during the night. I've been, it's just early morning for me now. That campaign thing started last night. Actually, I wasn't around. I was already out cold when we opened up last night, so I didn't know anything about what happened until just about an hour ago, logging in. So Jed's, as I've seen it, it looks like a good strong start, and some of you may be part of that. I don't know names and stuff yet about who has been participating there, so I don't know specific people to say thank you to, but it'll all sort out later when we get the campaign closed and see where the prints are going. We don't have that information from Kickstarter yet, so if there's some of you I should be saying strong thank you to, yes, please just accept it as a generic thank you at the moment, and as we learn more about who is participating and stuff, there'll be more specific thank yous coming when I learn the data. Oh, a link to the Kickstarter. Little detail. I'm sorry, I forgot that. Somebody can put it in for now. I'm sorry, and I should update the campaign page. The Twitch page. As I said, I only when I went to bed last night, it hadn't been opened yet, so I didn't know the URL. So whatever. There's no rush. It's going to be around for a while. Today's going to be a day here of general clearing. We've got these open spaces, her skin tone and her body. We finished the main, I haven't finished it. The main octopus head is done. His eyes aren't done. So for next hour or so, I think I'll be on the lady's body, her arm here, her arm, shoulder. I might move along fairly quickly because there's no dots. She's very clean. So we'll see how it goes. We might cover a lot of territory here today. Alright, so let's start filling in some of these blank areas here. Oh, this one actually, this is the area we were talking about. When was it? The other day, last week, I don't remember. Somebody asked me a question about whatever, the quality of the drawing. I don't remember, it was a generic sort of question about the quality of the drawing. And it stumped me at first, but then I remembered there was a space on this image that confuses me. Question, just a sec. Let me do this one first. There's a space on this image, and that's this place right now that I'm carving. That confused me. I'm not sure whether it's supposed to be octopus or it's supposed to be woman's skin. What should I do? Should I muck around and zoom out? Let's do this properly here. Let me zoom back out. Get rid of that too bright light. Let's do this. I'll put my glasses case under. let me see, we're talking about this place right here. If I get the printed, this is just a photocopy of the original book page. You can see it's in the split version. This clearly is her leg. This clearly is her arm. There's a little zone here that's not clear what it is. Now, it shows orange here, but that's simply because that orange block is misregistered. That orange block, you can see by the neighboring territory, the orange is misregistered too high. So the orange doesn't actually come into that zone. There's no color on it, which means it's not octopus. But it can't be her. Her hand comes this far. Her right leg is here. What is this? It either has to be the rocks they're sitting on, in which case it should get colored, or it's octopus. It's this octopus tentacle, perhaps could be considered as going down through there, in which case it should have been colored. So we've got a mistake here. It's either Hokusai's mistake in drawing, he couldn't figure out what part of body fit where, or it's a mistake in the manufacturing process. The carver misunderstood, or not the printers, because the printers just deal with the blocks as they get to them. So whatever, either it's Hokusai's just rough drawing and couldn't figure out what to do with all the body parts, or who knows. For me, what do I do with it? Her skin is going to be basically white paper, uncolored. The octopus is going to have a base tone, very soft base tone, plus the darker, that orangey tone on top of it. What do I do with this corner? Do I fix the original and call it octopus? Do I leave it blank, call it her skin, which makes no sense at all? So at the moment, I'm thinking I'll probably fix it and pretend that it's octopus. Sorry about fooling around here, excuse me. I need a totally automated setup. Or a cameraman. Where am I? Here we go. And also people have been asking about the light. This light from the microscope is too bright, and we have a solution coming. It's going to be a few days. It's going to be a while before I get it fixed. But we have a solution coming. I know Aoyama-san and I are rigging up a thing on the roof here. And I'm going to be switching to the system that I used to use in my real workshop back in Ome, the glass flask with a soft light shining through it. Getting rid of this super bright LED thing from the microscope. So the nice light is coming. Patience, please. Oh, there was a question sound, wasn't there? Hang on a sec. As usual, can't balance more than one thing. Well, the question is a bit generic about the campaign. The Kickstarter campaign and the outcome and stuff. I've mixed feelings about this time around. The original Kickstarter we did 5 years ago, it was different than what we're doing now. The original one 5 years ago was absolutely, there was a huge question mark. Will people want these woodblock prints? We knew Jed's designs would be popular, but what we didn't know was whether or not the much more expensive woodblock prints would have a place in the world, in the marketplace. We know that's true. We've learned over the years we know that's true, so why do we need kickstarting now? Well, from that point of view, we don't, of course. We're up and running. We're making Ukiyo Heroes prints steadily. It's not a question of a survival Kickstarter. Oh my God, people please help us get to this goal or we won't be able to make these products. That's clearly not what's happening this time around. It's more, I gotta be careful what I say here because you start talking about people when they're not in the room here, or worse, when they might be in the room. Myself and Jed, and where Ukiyo Heroes is and where it's going, and what we should do with our own skills. And again, I gotta be careful what to say here. both Jed and I, at certain times in our careers of making stuff, get to levels where you're sort of good at what you're doing, where things are going smoothly, things are going really well, people are enjoying what you're doing, the praise is pouring in. And it's all great, it's all wonderful. And you do it some more, you make another one, you make another one, and you make another one. But nothing sits still, nothing stays the same. It's not the way the world works or the way people work or whatever. And you can either fall into a thing where you just do exactly the same thing over and over again, and that's your thing. And I guess that's fine if you're a bus driver or something, or I don't know. I'm not just, But there are certain kinds of jobs and certain kinds of things you do where the stability and the stasis and the success is not actually such a good thing in itself. And after 5 years of Ukiyo Heroes, both Jed and I, as successful as it is and as happy as everybody is with it, we tried to think about how we could stretch ourselves. What's the word they say when people are settling into something? Push the envelope, or it's not the expression. It's get away from the familiar territory to try and do something that's more difficult and unknown. What is an expression for it? I don't know. Especially when you're talking about artists and stuff. So Jed and I needed to do this. And there were two things involved. The technical skill really had been increasing at this end. The people upstairs, Ayumi-san, young Yamamoto-kun, the printer, who I haven't introduced to you well. We have more skill here at this end. Chon-kun, the carver. So at this end, we could make a more complex kind of print if we wanted to challenge it. And at Jed's end, it's not a question of making something more complex. When you're an artist, it's not a question of, the skill with the brush. It's a question of stretching to try and do something different that maybe you're not so comfortable with. A comfort zone. That's the expression I was looking for. Move past your comfort zone. So that's what this thing was all about. We've been thinking and planning and what should we do and how should we do and how can we mix these things. Increase technical manufacturing ability and putting Jed into more of a scary zone. Trying to do things that don't quite fit his natural character. I'm rambling a bit, but you can see the point. So the Kickstarter is more, and this is a bit of a selfish thing to admit, it was more about kickstarting us, he and I, than about, from your point of view or anybody else out there. And getting these stronger, bolder, more active designs has not been trivial and not been easy. The guy makes it look easy sometimes. So it's an experiment. This is an experiment underway. It's been made even more difficult at this end by the fact that a few days before we got this thing up and running and announced it, some of you know, one of our top printers, Ayumi-san, has having to leave us. So that's putting even more pressure on us at this end. So anyway, roughly, I'm rambling a bit, but that's roughly what it's about. Why Kickstarter? Why the change? When I got the news from Ayumi-san last week, just 2 weeks ago now, she hadn't known, she'd known we were preparing the Kickstarter, but she hadn't known really about the details of it. And she hadn't seen the video. The video wasn't ready then, so she gives me this news. And like the next day, the video comes in. And it turns out that the first half of the Kickstarter video is sort of it's all about Ayumi-san. She's the star of the video there. And I'm like, oh my God, what do we do with this thing now? As far as printers go to replace Aimi-san, we'll have some news about this. There's two young men I've been talking to who have not been available to us before, but I've had to put different things on the table for them now in the situation I'm in, and one of them is already doing some work, some trials for us, and the other one I've got some blocks and paper on my desk to send to him this afternoon to do some trials. So it's not like we're not going to be able to fulfill these prints. We'll do it. We'll get it done one way or the other. But man, we're hopping right now. That's for sure. We're hopping. Then today, there's other things going on today. I mentioned it the other day, the live streaming schedule. This one's here today, okay, no problem. I'll be here tomorrow morning, no problem. Tonight, there will be no stream this evening. The evening stream, suitable for European viewers, will not happen this evening. There's a Kickstarter event here in Tokyo. They've brought the CEO over and some team, and they're working with a Japanese company here. And they've got a big launch party / press conference thing happening today. And of course, those of us here in Japan who have put up campaigns are part of it. And that was a surprise this morning when I looked into the mail and stuff. And I had understood that Kickstarter was throwing a lot of resources into this, and they had tried to find a bunch of creators to do campaigns for their startup, their launch here. But I could only find 4 campaigns launched from Tokyo overnight. Maybe there's more, but I could only find 4. So maybe on the stage this afternoon there will be me and 3 other people. I don't know. As I mentioned, I think it was last night, I'm really not certain that Kickstarter themselves will be all that successful here in Japan. I don't know. It's a different market, and I'm not convinced they understand that. And they're working with a local team, sort of an ad type, promo type, PR type company. And having watched a couple of the sessions, I've been to a couple of their preview sessions and brainstorming sessions. I was invited to some of that stuff over the past year. I've watched this all happening, and I'm not optimistic about Kickstarter as a company being successful here in Japan. If I had been asked to invest in them, I don't think I would do it. They don't get how different this is, and the company they're working with is clearly giving them the yes, yes, yes stuff, without being too critical. So. Carving or printing any of the Kickstarter prints yourself? This is a good question. This is a really good question, and I don't know. And I'm not waffling here. I don't know. All of a sudden, things have really changed here in the past few months for us. If you go back, X months? I don't know. Well, for the past few years, we've had 2 carvers here, me and the young Kawasaki Noriko, who joined us during the beginning of the portrait series a few years ago. So we've had 2 carvers, me and her, and we've had, hang on a second here. We've been tight for carvers, and we've had printers. We've had, the 4 girls working upstairs: Ayumi-san, Kanai-san, Ishikawa-san. And then we've had a couple of outside printers we were using. Numabe-san, a professional. Tetsui-san, a professional, was doing work for us. Kubota-san from Adachi was doing work. So we had a plethora of printers. We only had me and Kawasaki-san as carvers. And she and I took turns carving the portrait series, the first one, because she wasn't fast enough to do that, and Asakusa was still in its early stages. So she and I did that through 2013, I guess. Then I got too busy with the Sakusan, couldn't do it, so we looked for a subscription series the next year that could be handled by one carver. We did the Henry manga series. That's one of the reasons why we chose a simpler format. So Kawasaki-san became the subscription print carver, and I was going to do Heroes, and that's one reason for the gap. There were no new Heroes prints in the last few years, because Dave, as the carver, was sucked into this thing at this end. And that's the way it stood for a couple of years. Kawasaki-san had been doing the subscription prints, and I was doing nothing. And the printers were printing along. We had overstaff of printing, so we did the Doi Hanga series, stuff like that, blang, blang, blang. Now, all of a sudden now, within the space of a few months, it's upside down. The young Chinese boy, John-san, from Hong Kong, who we introduced a couple of years ago on my blog, he came with a picture that he had carved by himself of Hatsune Miku. And it was very clear this guy was a spectacular talent, wasn't ready to do Heroes prints for us yet. So off and on, he's been coming here on a tourist visa, working with my friend Asuka-san to train as a carver. He's been getting better and better and better, and he's the one, you saw his hands in the Kickstarter video. He's lefty like me. You saw his hands. He's carving the first Ukiyo-e Heroes print in this boss fights incarnation. Kawasaki-san is doing two things right now. She's doing the subscription prints by herself now. She'll be doing next year's subscription series. And she's now progressed long enough so that she's much more quick at it. And she's now doing the Serpent Strikes image that you saw presented in the campaign. And she will be doing now subscription prints plus the classic Ukiyo-e Heroes. The ones in the traditional vein. They might be a bit more static imagery, not so much full top to bottom of action. So she'll be full-time on us doing that. Chon-san will be full-time now on new boss fights designs. The ones that we've already shown you, and more that we're going to do, because there's clearly no interest in the concept. There's another young girl who worked with my friend Asuka-san as a trainee for a few years now. And this is getting a bit rambling, I'm sorry. I know a few years ago when we were short for carvers, I gave a job to Asuka-san to work on in his spare time. He said, sure, no problem. I can't finish it to a deadline, but I'll work on it whenever I have time. And we gave him the classic Ukiyo-e Heroes print, that Dragon's Gift design. And it turned out that his young apprentice was looking good. He said, can I try her on some of this? And I said, it's your decision. If you think she's good enough, you make the decision. I'm not there. And he said, she can do this. So I said, show me. And they did. She turned in the key block a couple of weeks ago. And she's now doing the color blocks. So, where are we with the story? We now have 4 carvers here. Me, Yumi-san, the new girl, Kawasaki-san doing subscriptions, and Chon-san, the boy from Hong Kong, who we are now trying to land a visa for. We've put in an application to get him in here to come and live in Japan. So, will I be doing the Heroes prints? No. Capable, competent young people are going to be doing this, which is, again, what this is all about. But am I going to be retired? No way. I'm doing this now. And I have a list of projects longer than your right arm. Some very, very interesting stuff that we now have the we have the resources now to move forward and try. So Heroes is in capable hands. I'm overseeing everything. And we are up and running on the carving side in a way that I could never have imagined just a couple of years ago, because we thought that was the one that was going to kill us. Anybody can learn to print in a few years. You can't learn to carve that simply. You've either got that skill or you don't. So give me a couple of months to sort out the printing. And we are going to be looking very, very good, I think. It's a bit of a crisis right now. But I can see my way through, so. The other day in the shop here, somebody was asking me about this. We had a quiet time. The last couple of weeks in the shop's been quiet. We're between the summer rush and the autumn rush, so it's kind of quiet right now. So there's been some very lucky visitors who have had time to sit and chat with us and drink coffee, and we show stuff in the back room and whatever, you know. So people have just got the perfect timing here. And this topic came up, and the guy said, "What kind of prints are you going to make? What do you mean? What's on your list of things to do?" And I was a bit loose, so I pulled up the file on my computer and showed him the plans. There's some beautiful prints waiting. I'm only 65 now that I'm back to my bench. Where are we? Yeah, the difference between the Giclées and the Woodblocks, it's interesting, you know. The Giclées, you can look at it two ways. One, they are, quote, just imitations. They are inkjet prints, blah, blah, blah. They are, but they're done very, very well. Jed has done a fabulous job. Well, we have done a fabulous job. I don't make them, but I sourced the paper for Jed. It's all done on a nice Japanese washi, full decal edge, and he's gone to an insane amount of trouble to figure out how to get the inkjet thing to work properly on that kind of washi. He's not like using your little desktop that you're printing photos on, you know. It's archival ink, and they really do look good. A lot of people are actually confused, and we see that not rarely. Someone will come up the stairs here in the shop and say, "Hi, Dave." And I'm like, "I don't know them, but no, I know you. I've been watching your YouTube videos. Got a bunch of your prints. Really enjoying them. Thank you very much." And that's nice. And then a few minutes later, he's in the shop and he says, "Where are those larger prints?" You know, and I realize that he's got some of the Giclée prints, and they look so good that he's thinking actually that they're woodblock prints. I just sort of keep quiet. I don't want to make people feel unhappy about what they have, but that's how good they are. Hard little spot right down there. Red light beep, beep, beeping here. Dave, be careful. There she goes. Actually, that's a sort of a hidden backstory in our venture here. You know, we talk all the time about the support of these programs is training people here in my workshop and stuff like that, and that's true. But there are two paper workshops, the workshop where we get our main paper from, and the workshop where the paper for Jed's Giclée prints come from. We're not single-handedly supporting them. That would be an exaggeration, but we provide the bulk of their work, so. And then behind them, you know, the people that are picking the mulberry fiber and stuff. Just it goes around and around and around. I have no idea how many people are actually making a living from ukiyo-e heroes. I don't know. Be careful. What's the hardest block to carve? I know, no question about it. I know the key blocks, you know, the kind of thing you see me doing now. each of these prints, no matter what kind of print, it has the key block with all the lines on it, and then there's color blocks. And if you say hardest, if you mean hardest in terms of requiring the most skill, it's the key block. It's not just that there's more of it and there's more detail, it's that the lines are so important. When you're carving a color block, you can get away with a little bit of waveriness or whatever when it's hidden inside the key lines. The edges aren't critical. But with this one, every tiny, that thing I did just now, I don't know if you can see this, her fingers are here grabbing the octopus. And they've just drawn them quite simply. The curve of her fingers comes around. And that tip right there where it joins, it's not a mechanical flat T-junction. There's a little nip right there where it comes off, where his brush just pulled up. And I've got to catch that. And if I don't catch that, the whole thing looks mechanically drawn and flat. And although I myself don't have the skill to draw it, I have the skill to see this. So this key block, far and away, is the one that needs the most experience. So you said, which one is the hardest one? I guess that's the answer. In a traditional workshop, the beginning kids would never get near a block like this, of course, for years. This is why I was so excited about Mokuhankan. He can see this stuff, he can do this stuff. Without being explained, without being told. What he's learning now is the details, the part that he can see and learn from the teacher. The stuff that's innate, he's already got it. You can't teach it anyway. I guess we need to do a video sort of introducing everybody. That might be something worth doing. They're never all here at one time or in one place, but if we get the camera and roll around to all the different people and times when they're here. Here's the Mokuhankan team, the Giclée Heroes team, Absolutely, I guess I should do that now that I think about it. Who is Mokuhankan? Because it's pretty vague, I guess, to some people, Do it now before Amy-san's gone. Stress relief for carving. I don't know, I keep making, do I use the word stress relief? I don't know that whole thing about stress, I know, without wanting to be sort of funny about it, I don't think I really have stress in my life, or I don't seem to be the kind of person that stuff gets to. At least not at my age now, There's stuff that goes on here, problems that come up, and this and that happens, but I don't sit here like chewing my fingernails or having trouble getting to sleep or whatever. I don't really know if I have any stress, I'm not quite sure how to answer that. I go to bed at night, within seconds of lying down, I'm asleep. Wake up in the morning and, let's get going. I eat well, I eat slowly, peacefully, don't gobble my food, sleep well. I don't chew my guts. What am I going to do? So, carving as stress relief, there's no No such idea for me, no. And then the carving itself, if you compare the younger Dave, me X years ago, quite a number of X years ago, with the Dave now, the stress in the carving is absolutely different. When I was doing that poet series, I was beginner, I was new at this. There were, more difficult parts of the block. There was carving somebody's kimono pattern or carving somebody's face. And clearly, if you screw up on the face, it's a big deal. If you screw up on the kimono pattern, no one's going to notice it. And I had the wrong attitude towards that. I thought, okay, I can do this part, the kimono, with easily relaxed. This part for the face, let's do it. Hold your breath, get ready. Here we go, Dave. Oh, what are we going to do? Okay. And it was totally the wrong way to do that. The lines you carve under that kind of environment, the lines would show the stress. So I'm not totally there yet, as you'll find out next week when I'm carving her hairlines here. But the attitude now is, here we go, kimono pattern, cut it. Face, cut it. Just get going. Just do your job. It's all the same. Actually, we saw that last week, a few days ago. That Kyosai print we were doing, I did the skeletons first, the random patterns first, this and that, rough lines, didn't much matter what's going on. Then at one point, one of the characters has a beard. And the old Dave would have said, okay, here we go. Hold your breath, ready, stroke 1, stroke 2. And this time I didn't do that. I just sat down, bang, 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 bang. It was all done in seconds. Whatever, it sounds like I'm showing off, I'm sorry. But whatever, the stage I'm at, the level of development I'm at, realizing that that's the best way to do that. Of course I carved carefully. Of course I carved, trying to be really accurate. But you don't do it in a sort of squint and hold your breath and scrunch up and here we go. I learned sort of about that from calligraphy, and when I was doing the poet series, I had been like that on the calligraphy, really trying to grit my teeth and get the curves right and stuff like that. And then at one point I was watching somebody draw. Maybe it was a lady. I used to go to a lady, not for calligraphy lessons, but whenever I was puzzled about what the character was or how to write it. There was a lady in the neighborhood who was a calligraphy teacher. And I visited her regularly, again, not to learn, but not to take lessons, but to get information on the character I was carving. And of course, she's there in her studio, so she picks up her brush, bang, bang, splash it up, bang, bang, there you go, that's the character we're talking about. And from watching her, I realized that no matter how complex the character was or how detailed, whatever, she just splashed it up, bang, 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 bang. There's nothing delicate or tense or whatever about it. And putting tenseness and stress into it just spoils it. So I'm getting better. 65, I'm getting there bit by bit by bit. So it's probably not quite what you asked. I don't know, stress relief. But anyway, if I can try and not exaggerate the situation, I don't really think I have any stress. But what do I know? Ask my daughters. Looks like a good conversation today. I'm just grabbing one line out of 100 here. I'm sorry. So, something else I remembered. I don't know what I should mention or whatever. Last week, I guess it was, or a few days ago, I don't know, in the morning stream or the evening stream, I don't know. I'd come out of the must be in the morning. I'd come out of the shower upstairs, We have a really nice little shower box upstairs, Aoyama-san put together here. So I'd come out of the shower box upstairs and had time, whatever, did the morning thing, and brush your teeth, and I remember trimming my nails or something, and somebody in the stream notices this, Dave, you cut your fingernails, And when I saw that, I thought, God, how embarrassing is this, that, people on the other side of the world are finally he cut his fingernails today or something, I think should I be embarrassed about this or depressed about this, or I don't care, or I'm laughing because I don't care, but so yesterday I'm in Ome. Yesterday was Tuesday. The Tuesday I'm in Ome, and over the years that I was living there, it became the habit to once a month or so go down the street. There's a woman who lives four doors down, who rented an empty building next to her, and her husband renovated it for her. She cuts people's hair there, so she became the place for me to go to get my hair cut. When I remember, when it gets shaggy and it falls in front of my eyes, and I think, oh my God, I'm having trouble seeing what's wrong. And oh yeah, of course, I should cut my hair. Or one of the staff says, Dave. I'm like, yes. And she says, Dave, and it's time to cut your hair. So I go, whatever. So yesterday I did. I went there. I'm sitting in the chair. She chops it all off. She says, see you next month when it's grown back, She makes her comment about, a little bit more white in there this time, isn't there, Because she's trying to get me to diet. I will never, ever in my life, ever do that. And she knows that by now, but it's her shtick, she says. She wants the extra work or whatever, or I don't know. So she's cutting yesterday. She pulls it back off my ears to show all the white underneath, and says, well, are you ready yet? I look at her and laugh, So we're doing this, whatever. She just cuts my hair and whatever. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, really? I got a stream tomorrow morning, and people are going to notice or not or whatever. What a bizarre. What a bizarre life goes such funny ways, I tried to explain to her, what this thing is that we're doing, like I do my carving with a camera and stuff and people are watching, and she understood my words, but she doesn't grok it. She doesn't, they don't have they don't use the internet themselves in their home, a couple, So a person in that situation can't quite, I tried to explain that, just whatever, bunch of young people, they watch what I'm doing and they chat among themselves while I do it, and I joked her, you should stream, put a stream here and people can watch you cut hair. And she's like, no one's going to be interested in that. I said, you'd be surprised, what people are interested in. Nice lady. The internet's watching Dave's grooming. I mean, how bizarre is this world going to get? The stream here is filling up. I guess more people are here than were here when we opened up. So something I mentioned that I should mention again. That campaign thing started last night, and it's looking pretty good. I guess perhaps a number of the people that are watching here are involved in that. I don't know. We don't get the information from Kickstarter until it's all over. Names and addresses and who's doing what and who's got what. So I have no way to know to what level some of you may have participated. So at this moment, all I can do is give a generic thank you. I'm sure some of you are over there. So please, thank you generically for the support of that event. Once it's over and I know who and what and where we are shipping prints to, I'll be able to thank more of you personally. But so at the moment, lest you think I'm a jerk for not saying anything, thank you to those of you who are doing that. So what is this? Kickstarter, $220,000. What's it? $200,000 stretch goal. Dave dyes his hair. I will never do that. So whatever, you guys can joke about it all you want. Never, I'll do that. Actually, there's a fact. I have a brother, younger brother, 3 years old. I spoke to him this morning by Skype. He had news for me. Whatever. He and I we're the same father and same mother. We know that. We can see the DNA in both of us. But we got a different scramble of DNA. So we're quite different people. We like each other a lot. We're good fun. We don't live together. He lives over in Germany and Thailand, and I live here in Japan. That was a hit for my grandmother. My parents don't care. But my grandmother, who grew up like in the 1920s and 30s, whatever. Her grandkids, one marries a Jap and one marries a Kraut. And for her, this was just more. Her head exploded, so whatever. She was British, so sorry about that. Anyway, so my brother, we got different DNA. And he clearly got his testosterone levels and stuff are cranked up much higher than mine. He's had a girlfriend in every port, if I can use that expression, all his life, And Dave has been, what's the word? Serial monogamous? Is that the word? I've had girlfriends, but, in moderation and one at a time, And his hair now is pretty much gone. And I've still got this thick thatch. And I guess it's testosterone, The more of that you've got, the faster your hair disappears. And my character is playing on my head, and his character is playing on his head. And we joke each other about this, We are what we are. The DNA has the DNA has spoken. So here, I don't care what color it is, I've got it, it's fine. When I look around me at the community, people my age, I'm fine. I'm happy with this. So the problem is just too much. If I keep, like I said, chop it back, it just grows so much and so fast. Why is my girlfriend crying? Stretch goals. There won't be stretch goals. It's not that kind of a campaign, where we're desperately trying to grab funding. It's not that kind of campaign. So. Too bright. Man, look at that, my fingernails pick up the light. I should dye my fingernails. If I turn the light down, though, it's difficult for me, Is that a bit better? I don't know. As I said, better light coming soon. Just please hold on. Another hard spot there, just in these dangerous places. So where the wood gets there. There's a little green spot right there. Maybe I can slide this out this way. Yes, good. how did I come to know and start working with Jed? It's his idea. It's his idea. I don't know. He and I had had a tiny short email exchange about 8 years ago when he was still in college. I had been toying with the idea of publishing prints other than just making them as a solo craftsman. It's before I had Mokuhankan. And I had written to 2 or 3 artists and designers around the net whose images I'd seen and thought, there's something there. And one of those had been Jed. Just a design or drawing he'd put up somewhere. So I had just teased the idea, maybe there's something we could think about publishing this as a print if am able to get the resources later on. It was just a thought, that's all. And he answered me politely. We talked, email, whatever, 2 or 3 emails back and forth, and that was it. I didn't have the resources. I was still tied up with my own work. I was just sort of planning and thinking for the future. If something happens, might we be able to do this? So it just went to sleep. There was nothing there, just the seed of an idea. And a few more years went by. I'd even, forgotten about it. What's next? This zone here? No, look at that. It's too much white on there. A couple of years had gone by. I actually had started the Mokuhankan venture, but we didn't start by choosing other people's work and publishing it. We were trying to train printers. So I was doing things like creating small blocks with seasonal designs, and we were trying to convince people selling Japanese kashi, Japanese snacks, to sort of get the idea of using a woodblock printed wrapper on them, Not a bad idea in itself, but it wasn't practical as a business venture the way I tried to do it. Just train people from zero and take over the world of snack packaging, Anyway, whatever. It didn't work, so I ran out of money. I was spending too much time training them, not enough time at my own bench. So spring of 2012, it was coming to an end. And then, simply, clearly, out of the blue, totally instigated by Jed, not by me, he sends an email. So whatever, it's in my computer still, somewhere, April or so, 2012. It was a change your life date, but I didn't know it at the time. He threw out the idea, Mr. Bo, do you remember me? We talked a couple of years back just for a little bit. And I forget the exact words he said. It's, life-changing idea. What I'd like to do is do a series of woodblock prints, putting video game characters into ukiyo-e style, just the concept. He just created the concept, bang. And would you be interested in working with me? And the problem, he put a little sketch in, which was a bizarre, scribbled little thing, which was difficult for me to see and understand. And it didn't make much sense, and I blew him away. I said no. I wasn't impolite, but no, I'm sorry, One, because I hadn't seen any artistic thing in the little scribble he sent, and second, I thought, Nintendo, I want lawsuit trouble like that. You got to be kidding. So I said no. Whatever, we've told the story many, many times on these threads too. He persevered. I pushed back, no. He persevered a bit more. I tried to introduce him to another workshop. The guy I've talked about, Asaka Motohara. He pushed, and I tried to introduce him to that workshop because I didn't see how it could fit with our own life. And then the key point of the story, he sent through that design of the one we all know now as rickshaw cart, the characters pushing these carts across the bridge in a bizarre race. And that's when the penny dropped for me, that old expression. I realized this is really something interesting. This young man can draw, he can create, he can physically put the brush on paper. And the fact that they were parodied so far from the original game, it maybe wasn't going to be a problem with Nintendo. So I jumped on board. Let's make it. Let's just make it. And even before that Kickstarter campaign, as part of that original Kickstarter campaign, we thought to make it successful, we need video. So I just said, whatever, the hell, campaign's going to work, campaign's not going to work, I'm already broke, let's do this thing. So we made the first print. Even though the nominal purpose of the campaign was to gather money for the first print, we needed the print to show people, so whatever. So we made it. But whatever, each time I tell the story, I should really make it clear. None of this was my idea. I make stuff at this end. I've got printmaking technique. At that time, it would have been 25 years of experience had built up. So it was the perfect match for Jed. But it was absolutely, totally his concept, his creation. I can't take any of the credit for that. And as a sort of a proof of how good the concept is, and it was just the right time and place, as many people know, every other publisher in Tokyo here jumped onto that same bandwagon. We didn't know it was a bandwagon. They made it into a bandwagon. Other publishers here jumped in without the same level of creativity. Got some sort of, can I say this, hack designer to put something together. They went without, because they're afraid of stuff. They went and got licensed. Licensed companies forced them to do limited editions. They're all out there. There's Star Wars prints, there's Lupin prints, Doraemon prints, Hatsune Miku. Everybody in town is making them. All limited editions. One purpose. Number one, try and get as much money as you can from the people out there. Jesus, I despise what they've done. Woodblock prints back in the old days, there was nothing to do with limited editions. It wasn't art. It was beautiful decorative objects. Stuff that touched people. The kabuki actor on the stage, the woman took it home and oh my God, he was so beautiful and handsome and oh. That's what these things are about. Not limited editions and how expensive it was and how much you're going to get back when you sell it and all that stuff. I keep promising myself I won't talk about that anymore. How does our work run up against copyright laws? This is an interesting question that has no definitive answer. Those kind of questions are answered in court at some point, if things go that far. There's two aspects to this. There's a legal aspect, and that has different variations depending on what part of the world you're in. Laws are different in different countries. But anyway, there's a legal aspect to it, and there's a moral aspect to it. Now, in our society, it's sort of an ideal situation. Laws will match morals. Thou shalt not kill. There's a moral right and wrong, and it matches the legal right and wrong. But when you get into other areas of things, like this, the moral answer and the legal answer might be two different things. So, step one, how do we stand legally? In a place like North America, we're very much clearly in the clear. They have this concept called fair use, which has actual clauses in it related to parodies and adaptation. And there seems absolutely, I'm not a lawyer and we've never tried this in court, but it seems pretty clear that we are very much under the parody thing. You look at our Fox Moon print, there's a fox standing on a cloud, and next to him there's a rabbit on a cloud, and behind that there's a frog, and there's a falcon in the background. We all know what this represents, but that company does not have a copyright on the concept of a fox. There's things we clearly cannot use. You cannot draw exactly the characters. You can't use their names. These are trademarked. So we're in the clear legally there. And actually we know that because executives of that company have been through my shop. I've got some of their meishi. They've come in, Dave, the one guy did it. I think he was the vice president for Europe or something. I don't remember. Something in Europe, a sales manager or something. I don't remember. He came in and he put his meishi on the table and he did the stone face thing first. He's having fun. He did the stone face. Here's my card. I gave him my card and I looked at it, looked up at him, and we sort of froze in silence there for a minute. I didn't panic, of course not. I know where I stand on this. And he started smiling. He couldn't hold it. He was sort of trying to do we're here to talk to you about our designs. He didn't actually say that, but whatever. And of course, he's got no problem with this. As he said, my God, you're helping us rejuvenate this franchise and keeping our fans happy. And what they care about is people stealing their stuff, who are trying to make money off their stuff that hurts them. Somebody doing an imitation game or something. He showed me a photograph on his iPhone in his office. There's stuff on the wall, our stuff. Giclée prints, unfortunately. Maybe he couldn't afford them upon his wall. So where was I at this? The legal thing, we feel we are in the clear. The moral thing is different. It's quite possible to be legally okay, but doing something that's morally reprehensible. Are we hurting these game companies? Am I stealing money out of their pocket? Are we hurting their thing, making it, more difficult? Or are we damaging their intellectual property, whatever? And maybe I'm kidding myself. I don't know, but I can't in any way find any way that we are hurting them at all. Maybe I'm fooling myself, but I really don't think so. I think we are honoring their intellectual property, honoring the characters they created. We recognize that these are characters with feelings, and that people who relate to these characters have feelings. And everything we do honors that and helps that grow. Honestly speaking, it's the other way around. What I think the Nintendo company should do, and this isn't just me, other fans have suggested this. The next version of the Zelda franchise, or whatever it is you call it, set it in Edo, Japan. Hire Jed. Don't sue him. Hire him to do the look and feel of the game. My God, people would line up around the block to get that. A real official, licensed, built, interesting game set in the Edo period. People would kill for that. Maybe they're planning this, who knows? That's a sort of a joke, it's in the back of our minds too, Suppose they did that Nintendo company for their new Switch or whatever. They did a version of Zelda, they called it, Legend of Zelda Ukiyo Heroes. Just write that, they stole Jed's idea. What's Jed gonna do, sue him? There's an upside down parallel universe in which that happens. They should hire the guy. Well, he wouldn't want to go to work for them, but they should, whatever, work with him. Just work together with him on putting that thing together in real life, Wouldn't that be something? So, feudal Japan Zelda, right? My God, One day. It's got to happen one day. Maybe they're not doing it because they're worried that we would sue them. I mean, I don't know what's the back and forth. We've never had any official contact with any of these game companies. Actually, that's not true. We've never had official contact with Nintendo. Jed now and then has had great experiences. He goes to all these comic conventions, the comic conventions, cosplay conventions and game conventions and anime, whatever, all over America. He's there almost every weekend, sometimes of the year. And on a couple of occasions, he's had the same experience. I don't remember the names. I can't name drop here because I don't remember the names he's given me. But he's told me about this, the day later or that evening from his hotel room. He said, I had a great time today. I'm at the booth and this guy comes up to me. And he says, are you Jed Henry? And Jed's like, yeah, sure. He says, what's this? And he points to something, up on Jed's stand. That's one of our prints. And he slaps his Meishi on the table. And he's like the second chief executive officer of that game company, And Jed knows what's going to happen. And we've had enough experience of this. He stands his ground and says, great, I've been really looking forward to meeting you. And the guy, does a double take or whatever and says, yep, I'm looking forward to meeting you too. Can we do a selfie together? Whatever. And they take the print off the wall and the guy stands there and they do a selfie. And like this is the chief designer or head executive officer of one of these game companies, It's pretty clear that for most of the people out in that environment, they understand. we're not hurting them. And this guy is so good at it, you know. Jed is so good at these things. So I think Jed's got a collection of these selfies, you know, together with these game execs, and you know, we joke about it. If we ever need to be in court, ever at one point, we've got this list of stuff, you know. Back at the time of the first Kickstarter, we didn't know, you know, are these people going to leave us alone? Or are we going to get a C&D order or something? We didn't know. We thought we were morally clear, as I said, you know. We didn't know about the legal aspect, but we thought we were morally clear, so let's go ahead and do this. But we prepared a little file. I got a file on my computer. It was the defense step 1, what we would do if we were asked to stop, you know. And we got some interesting stuff in it. I did a bunch of Google searching. I'm not going to show this to you because I'm going to keep this in my backup safety file. It turns out that, you know, Jed described this in the first Kickstarter video 5 years ago. He said, you know, a lot of us don't realize that these anime games, these animes and these video games from Japan, a lot of them are rooted in Japanese culture and history. And when the guys were making these games, you know, the first Zeldas or whatever, even these things, they were picking up on aspects of traditional Japanese stories and traditional Japanese imagery and stuff like this. And I've got an image here. It's from an archaeological dig somewhere in China. It's some sort of ceramic things they dug up, and they're now in a museum in whatever, Beijing or Taipei or somewhere. I don't even know where it is. And there's a creature there that is sort of got a turtle back, and it's sort of got a lion's face, and it's got this mane of hair, and it is a dead ringer for that character throwing the squid in our rickshaw cart print. You know, it's got a different name in different iterations of the game. And when somebody's after you for, you know, copyright infringement, if you can stand up in court and show, well, yeah, we copied their character, but actually we can show that their character is copied from, it's called prior art. And some of those characters in that video game, I've got 2 of them locked down. There is clearly prior art from some dug up grave in China from 6,000 BC, or I don't know the number, whatever it is, you know. So we thought we'd prepare this defense, whereas if these companies came after us, we'd say, do you really want to go to court and challenge this IP, you know? Now, of course, it's never, ever, ever, ever gone that far, and we don't expect it to. But there is that aspect to it, that we've built on something that in its turn built on something. It's you know, that's how the world works these days. Mix and remix, mix and remix. We are okay, I think. But I'm not a lawyer. What do I know about it? Maybe tomorrow after the press conference and Kickstarter's conference, some lawyer here in one of these companies in Japan will see this and think, oh my God, what's this? I've never seen this before. And they'll come after us. Who knows? If they do come after us, we will be asking for some support. I don't mean money. I mean, we'll be asking for people to, you know, whatever, tell them what you think. So I've got the edges. One more edge here. Look at that, it came off one piece. Conversation flying by. That's going to need trimming, but I can't see it yet. We're going to have to do test print first. The edge of the paper sort of frays when you cut. It looks like this is a bit too fat, but I don't dare muck with it at this point. Oops, wrong way. It's another stinker here in Tokyo today. You know, I'm sweating already. Bright, hot day. No complaints. There's been a bunch of rain recently, so it's nice to have a clear day, but boy, it's going to be hot. I hope tonight's Kickstarter party venue is well air conditioned. I'm sure it will be. So we'll see if any of you, I don't know, any of you, some of you, whatever, you're in Japan, I guess some people here in Japan, you can perhaps watch some of the media outlets. I guess tomorrow, the party/press invite thing is happening tonight, all through this evening. It starts around 6, I think it goes late. And if they do manage to get good media coverage, tomorrow night's TV news or newspapers, whatever, I don't know how much they're going to be able to, how much media coverage they're going to be able to get, but if they do, who knows, maybe I'll be up there. So check your Tokyo media tomorrow. I haven't had a chance to investigate, see what other campaigns that are part of this, I don't know, are part of this, the new thing in Japan. I guess Kickstarter, they told us they were going to have a feature on their page. I haven't had a chance to see. The fact that Kickstarter is opening in Japan, they were going to, you know, do blah, blah, blah. So maybe on the Kickstarter website, there's a special page or something for the new Japanese, on their page, on their blog somewhere, I don't know. I'd be curious to see what else is starting up. If the Air Bonsai Lady is back with something new, or because this might be quite an opportunity, you know, for people in Japan who just haven't had the knowledge or ability to get their stuff out into the world. This might be going to provide an interesting platform for them to do that. So we might see quite a lot more of Japanese stuff, gadgetry or games or whatever. Available. Yeah, already you're asking, I know, I'm going to be hearing about this for the next few years. The big OW 4-panel, you know, do it as a woodblock. I know. We've been through this over the years. The 3-panel that he did, it's simply that the production costs, you know, and again, this is, well, no problem, just kickstart it, you know, put whatever your production costs are, add them up and kickstart it. It's not just production cost money, it's production resources, carving time and printing time. And what we would want to do with that one is do it as an Oban size print, an actual, the same as they did at Ukiyo in the old days, because there's so many small characters in it. You can't just shrink it down, it doesn't have any impact. So it's the resources that would have to go into that project and wouldn't allow us to be doing much of anything else for the time it would take to do it. And then, even though there are people who would be able to afford it and who could get it, most people would not be able to. You know, £4, it's going to be at least, even if it was small size, it's going to be at least $500-600. And if we did it large size, they're going to be like $300 each. And I'm not, you know, helping to buy a Mercedes for my parking lot here. It would just cost that much, you know. And I honestly don't think the market at present can do that. But having said that, if we do keep going the way we're doing now, we've got 4 carvers, and if we get a few more printers on base, and if the paper supply over the next couple of years stables out a bit, which again I think we're on track to, then yeah, doing some much larger scale projects, whether it's that OW panel or something else like it, which Jed can come up with, we would like to do that. So it's not that we don't want to, I just can't commit the resources, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm reading the market wrong and reading my data wrong, I don't know. I mean, I'm with you. I'd like to make a mark too, you know. There's never been anything like that published since the Meiji time. Those 3-panel things that they published in the reams back then. There's been never anybody who's ever been able to do that kind of project since then. I don't know when the last one came out. The Russian-Japanese War, 1905, something like that. Since then, there's been nothing. And my God, that would be a spectacular project to do. But I can't take that on and keep doing everything else we're doing. Subscription projects to keep our staff paid, you know. So whatever, hold on. At some point, maybe we can make it happen. I don't know. There's also another factor there, you know. I'm not sure if there's Jed in the thread today or not. I got to be careful. It's okay. I can say this. Nothing evil. Jed's still very young. His art is still developing. He's getting better at this. Not just a question of stretching the style for this energetic stuff. He's actually getting better at what he does. So I'm not thinking about that. For me to postpone that kind of large project is not, all in all, a bad thing. Because what he does for us next year is going to be, I think, on average, better than what he's doing. So have patience. This is such pleasant work today, you know. The dots are okay, but this is much easier. That sounded like a question. Oh, no, that wasn't a question. That was I'm getting my sounds mixed up. That was a Patreon joiner. Thank you, if it's somebody involved here. Thank you for joining. Getting my sounds confused. One of the staff members who was at Teikosankan, she was asking the other day, says, David, when you do the Patreon sound there. It makes some different sounds for the different levels of patronage, you know. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. Sorry, we will never do that, you know. You're an important Patreon, you're a minor Patreon. Give me a break. No way. Anybody at all participating in that. It's all the same. Still high in the middle there. That's high here. I think it's down deep enough. The paper won't sag that far in this small area, but just a bit of insurance. Oops, not quite cut deep enough. This is another dangerous one. You get a line coming off like this. When you clear it that way, chuk, 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 it's really common to pop off the end of the line. So let's buy some insurance here. Chuk, a bit deeper. Good. Hi. Where's next? Where are we going next? What have we got left time? Oh, it's almost time. Today, Kawai-san's not here. Today it's going to be Shiba-san and Teiko-san. Unusual combination. Two of our strongest ones are coming today, Teiko-san and Shiba-san. And the reason is it's all mixed up today. I'm going to finish this. I'll be here in the morning. Then in the afternoon, I've got to go out. I've got a scheduled checkup at the hospital every year, whatever it's the stuff you have to check. Then this afternoon, after that, I'll be going to the Kickstarter party. Announcement, press conference, release, blah, blah, whatever they're calling it. So I'll be out of here during the day, and there's a bunch of print parties scheduled. So we've got two of the strong ones in today, Teiko-san and Shiba-san. Wait a minute, are you stalking Shiba-san? Just a minute, what's going on here? Can I tell her that, or should I keep quiet? Long one here. I think we need some relief cut on this. Both of the girls today single, Teiko-san and Shiba-san, they're both single, early 30s. What am I saying? Keep away. Keep away. Don't take more of my girls. What do you mean, ask them if they would date a foreigner? They work for me. They got no problem with foreigners. They've learned all the good things and bad things about them. Not all. They've learned a number of good things and bad things about foreigners. Teiko-san's okay. She's totally bilingual, bicultural. She was born in America, Japanese parents, and grew up here. Totally bicultural. Shiba-san, we've chatted before, she's Japanese, but we're not her only job. She trained originally in the hairpiece business, and her other job now, which takes more of her time than mine does because the other job's time sensitive. She does the hairpieces for different kabuki productions and other stage productions. Recently, she's been working, her company has been working on contract for the Super Kabuki people. And they did all the hair pieces for the One Piece presentation. She's got a bunch of stories about that. My God, some of those guys are so demanding. Jesus. I guess when you're a star kabuki guy on stage, whatever, some of it to me sounds borderline abusive, but I don't know, whatever. I guess if you're going to be a stage star or a movie star, that's what you got to do to make sure things are right. I don't know. But the hours some of these people work and whatever, she's got her stories. But very different environment than what we have here, And their deadlines, She gets jobs, like there'll be a phone call during the night, get on the train, come down to Osaka, because tomorrow afternoon's performance, there's some hair missing from this thing, and you got to fix it. Like she's taxied to the station at 4 a.m, get on the first train, and with her tool bag, and emergency theater calls for wigs, it's a thing. It's a thing. Yeah, here we go. The ping pong sound, I love and hate that sound. Come on. It rings here in the back room, because it's the stairwell sound, of course, and we've put it here so that it can be heard from all through the shop. And you can also hear it just in the background when you're upstairs. So sometimes, the staff might be upstairs doing something, and you've got to be able to hear this when people come up the stairs. So. There's going to be 3 of them today, actually. There's 2 printers upstairs and then 3 in the shop today. One of the new trainees. We've got a young French girl who has started training with us. Teiko-san, good morning. It's okay, we're on live.
What time are you leaving?
I'll be here till about 11 o'clock or so. Then I got to go for the checkup and then off to Kickstarter. I might be back here in the afternoon before going to Kickstarter meeting. I'm not quite sure. We're live here. Going to say hello? This is Teiko-san. 今日パーティーも多いですね。今日3人ですか？渋さんと
そうですね。
オードリーさんも来る？
そうだと思います。
会ったことありますか？
ありますよ。花火来ました。
あ、OK、OK。
その前にも会ったことある。
Okay.
昨日も会いました。
昨日？
浅香先生のところ。
あ、そっかそっか、OK。じゃあ、good。Suga-san, good morning. Hello. This is Suga-san passing through on the way upstairs. You say hello to everybody on your way upstairs. Hey.
やってるんですか、ライブ？
そう、もちろん。It's every day.
おはようござい
There you
ま
go.
す。
Again. Suga-san, she's been doing almost all the yokai prints. Her and Ishikawa-san have been taking turns on yokai. So, 今日のyokaiですか？
今日も妖怪やります。
Okay.
ありがとうございます。
What does she do when she meets friends and they say, "What do you do for a living?" She says, "I print yokai." I don't know what she says. I don't know. Okay, I think we're done. We got to get this thing going. That's cleaned off. I did some good work today here. Cleared out some nice areas. Let's zoom back so we can see what's done so far. Oops. Where are we? Sorry about that jerkiness. I hate when people do that. So here we go, where we're at. You know, of course, the seaweed's been done for ages. The tentacles are all done. Bit by bit, her body's clearing out. I'm off now. I won't be doing any more carving in this today. So tomorrow morning, I guess I'll be picking up where I left off, finishing up her torso here, these areas. Then I guess perhaps it'll be the next will be the younger octopus. And we're moving along. Then I guess perhaps I'll clear out the wide areas to the border, and then we'll get down to the you know, essential areas. This part and her face. Still many days work left for this. Okay, so again, no stream tonight. I'll be back here tomorrow morning. Again, to repeat, for the Kickstarter campaign, many of you may be in there helping us. I don't have names and numbers and stuff yet. I won't see that till the end of the campaign. So at the moment, a generic thank you to all of you who are taking part in that. And I'll be able to talk to you more personally when we get the information at the end of the campaign. Okay, for me now, I'm on a very busy day. Small checkup. That's the Patreon again. Thank you very much. Good. Check up this afternoon, Kickstarter party tonight. I'll be back here tomorrow morning. Thank you very much, everybody. See you soon.